Top focus viewers, Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan, has been relieved of the claims levelled against him by the Narcotics Control Bureau in the Cordelia cruise drug case. There was lack of sufficient evidence against Aryan. The Home Ministry has now asked the concerned authorities to look into Sameer Wankhede's, the then Mumbai NCB zonal officer, who was in charge of the probe for what they call shoddy investigation.
Shah Rukh Khan's son Aryan Khan gets a clean chit in the Cordelia cruise ship drug scandal that rocked the country last year. The Special Investigation Team of the Narcotics Control Bureau on Friday filed a 6,000-page charge sheet in a Mumbai NDPS court. While 14 people are charged, Aryan and 5 others are let off. The NCB says Aryan, who spent 26 days in jail as part of the investigation, was never in possession of drugs and there is no evidence he consumed any.
We found in our investigation that his friend stated in his own statement that the drug that he was carrying was not meant for Aryan. So the basic premise that a drug that was found on his friend was is baseless or fallacious.
The SIT has elaborated why a case was not made out against Aryan. Aryan did not undergo any medical test. His WhatsApp chats were not related to the case. Aryan did not take any drugs and dissuaded others from doing so. Sources also say that NCB did not find any evidence that linked Aryan with any international drug trafficking network. Several questions have cropped up after the NCB's U-turn. First, what proof did NARCOS claim to have that they don't now have? Second, can action be taken against NARCOS for Aryan chat leaks? And last, will Shah Rukh's family demand action against the Narcotics Control Bureau? For SRK and family, Aryan's clean chit comes on a special day. It is Shah Rukh Khan's son Abram's 9th birthday. Aryan was arrested in the Mumbai cruise drugs case on October 2nd. After several court hearings and lots of drama, the Bombay High Court granted him bail on October 28th. Aryan walked out of jail on October 30th.
Cordelia drug cruise case went on to become the most high-profile drug case of the country as Aryan Khan was arrested in it. But when the charge sheets are filed, no charge is seen against Aryan Khan, which reflects badly on the anti-drug agencies and their work done, because it puts them in bad light, saying if the most high-profile case was done without evidence, how many such other cases have been done by the agency? With cameraman Sahil Chavan, Mustafa Sheikh for India Today.
Viewers, do you remember that man called Sameer Wankhede, who at that point of time was spearheading the probe against Aryan Khan, who in court many a time said that Aryan Khan was a drug addict, that he was an international drug trafficker? Well, right after he was given a clean chit by the NCB, of course, Sameer Wankhede is no longer in charge of the case. He's been transferred. We called him. In this India Today exclusive, we spoke to the earlier NCB officer who had arrested Aryan Khan and fought that case. Sameer Wankhede, listen in.
समीर वानखेड़े जी, नारकोटिक्स कंट्रोल ब्यूरो की टीम ने चार्जशीट दाखिल कर दी है। आर्यन को उसमें क्लीन चिट देने की बात कही जा रही है, उसके खिलाफ चार्जशीट दाखिल नहीं हुई है। क्या कहना है आपका? आपने पूरा मामला देखा था।
सॉरी, मुझे कुछ नहीं कहना है। नूर एनसीबी, प्लीज हैव द रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट।
All right, viewers, I want to cut across right now to our Mumbai Bureau Chief. Sahil Joshi is joining us live. We also have Shaina NC from the Bharatiya Janata Party. In a short while from now, we'll be joined by Clyde Castro. Sahil, for the benefit of our viewers, I want you to take our viewers through right from the arrest to the clean chit, which has happened today, without a charge sheet, the operative part.
Well, Preeti, as you all know, the raid happened at this particular cruise ship. I remember the first day when the director of Narcotics Control Bureau gave a statement that there was a deep sea operation against this particular cruise. The NCB officials were present on the cruise. They raided the cruise and they have busted the rave party, is what was claimed by the director of Narcotics Control Bureau. And not what we are finding now is because Aryan Khan is accused number 1 in this particular case, even though there was not even a pinch of drug recovered from him. Now, what has the charge sheet said today? You know, what were the charges against Aryan Khan? That he had the drugs on him, he consumed the drugs, he was involved in drug trafficking, he was part of the international drug syndicate, because all these allegations were part of the Additional Solicitor General's arguments inside the court, so that the court should deny the bail for Aryan Khan, and he was denied bail not only in the magistrate court but also in the NDPS court, and finally he had to take bail from the Bombay High Court. For that, it took 26 days that Aryan Khan had to spend in Arthur Road jail. Now here, just forget Aryan Khan, that he is a Shah Rukh Khan's son, but look at what today has been mentioned in the charge sheet. The first important point, it appears that the investigating officer motivated to somehow implicate Aryan Khan in the drug case is what the charge sheet is saying, filed by the NCB itself. The second point, Aryan Khan handed over the phone to the investigating officer voluntarily. It should be noted that such handling over was not according to the procedure is the second point. And most importantly, many people were called on the basis of the WhatsApp chats recovered from Aryan Khan's phone, which was not right, because the Supreme Court had time and again questioned the evidentiary value of the WhatsApp chats. The WhatsApp chats on the basis of which since past 1 year, what we are seeing, the parading of various people in front of the Narcotics Control Bureau office, what the Narcotics Control Bureau themselves are saying today in the charge sheet, that it was not right because the WhatsApp chats are not permissible as a evidentiary evidence as per the Supreme Court. Most importantly, the investigation showed that no drug was found on Aryan Khan. So he found with no drug. There was no drug test conducted on Aryan Khan. The independent witness Prabhakar Sail, who actually died a few days back, had clearly told that he was asked to sign on the blank sheet by another witness called Kiran Gosavi. He did not witness any kind of drug recovery. So the independent witness who was made to sign the Panchnama was not present there. He was asked to sign on a blank sheet. There was nothing mentioned on that particular sheet of paper, and rest of the things were put in by the Narcotics Control Bureau officials. It is strange to note what is mentioned in the charge sheet. It is strange to note that in spite of clear-cut denial of involvement, the IO started looking for WhatsApp chats of Aryan Khan. That means the investigating officer found nothing on Aryan Khan. The person who was accompanying Aryan Khan, Arbaz Merchant, clearly told that the narcotic substance recovered from Arbaz Merchant was to be consumed by Arbaz Merchant himself. It was not for Aryan Khan. Despite that, Aryan Khan's phone was taken, his mobile was searched, and the WhatsApp chats were looked into. This is a gross violation of all the procedures of investigation, is what the Narcotics Control Bureau, the central agency, is telling about their own officials. The same questions were raised by the Maharashtra Minister Nawab Malik, who is now arrested by another investigating agency, Enforcement Directorate. Now all these claims, now the NCP is saying that will Samir Wankhede and his team will be charged for this gross violations. Will they be prosecuted for this? Because somebody had to spend time in jail, not only Aryan Khan but 6 other people, because 6 people have been let off. There was no international conspiracy which has been found as claimed by the Additional Solicitor General while arguing the case in the court, so that the bail can be denied. So this is very clear evidence that how the central agency Narcotics Control Bureau conducted the investigation in Aryan Khan case. In this case, somebody was there to call their bluff, but you have been seeing that since Sushant Singh Rajput's drug case, multiple times people were paraded in front of Narcotics Control Bureau office. Nothing happened in those cases. When Riya Chakravarti was given bail, in her bail order, it was written that a 27A, that is the charge of being part of the drug business, there was nothing found on that, and that's why Riya Chakravarti should be released on bail. So whole this WhatsApp chat business has been questioned by the investigating agency themselves, when the same officials were using those WhatsApp chats to summoning people to the Narcotics Control Bureau office and kind of harassing them, is what has been mentioned in the Narcotics Control Bureau's charge sheet, which has been filed today in the Bombay's NDPS court. So, these are not my words. This is mentioned in the charge sheet, and I'm just reading out of these pointers from the charge sheet itself.
You know, Sahil, it's amazing because the pointers that you're reading out, once again, there is no charge sheet against Aryan Khan, but the charge sheet that the NCB has submitted is bizarre. You've taken one by one each of those cases, and I'll bring in our other two political guests. And the reason we're bringing in, Sahil, political guests is because you more than anyone understand and know how political this entire event had happened. It was a public trial of sorts of Aryan Khan. And Clyde Castro, I'll bring you in on this, Mr. Castro, because, you know, if you go by the virtue of what the charge sheet says, it mirrors what your own party leader, Nawab Malik, had said.
Absolutely. From day one, Mr. Nawab Malik, he used a word called farziwara. Okay, it's like a scam, sham, whatever you called it. This is exactly what it was. From day one, he said that this whole issue has been created by a particular officer. Now, we've maintained this and we've said this clearly always, that the NCP, since the time of inception, has done a fantastic job. It is one officer who comes in here and starts doing something that is contrary to what the NCB is supposed to do. I mean, you are looking at small issues that are coming across which has no relevance. You are only targeting celebrities so that you get publicity. You are parading celebrities. Celebrities from Deepika Padukone to, you name it, all those celebrities are paraded outside the NCB offices. And what came out of it? Nothing came out of that. Now today, Mr. Nawab Malik stands vindicated because Aryan Khan gets a clean chit, and not just Aryan Khan. There are many others who've got clean chit today, and we've kept saying this from day one, that this was a complete sham created by one particular officer. There were a lot of angles to it. Now today, Sahil read out the charge sheet. I mean, it clearly says, you know, an investigating officer has probably influenced the whole thing. WhatsApp chats are not supposed to be looked at. He's gone deeper and looked at that angle. Blaming a particular... See, the point here is, it's not just about Aryan Khan. It's about many, many youngsters or anybody.
May I come in now, please?
For a particular thing by this particular officer. And I'm very happy. And we are very happy. We welcome the move by the government to set an investigation.
Mr. Castro, would you stay with me? I want to bring in China NC. She's been quite patient. She's heard you. Yeah. But China NC, I want to just, you know, hark back to a statement which was made by Mr. Devendra Fadnavis that the truth will come out and everyone will see, quote unquote, ma'am. The truth has come out today.
Yes, and I think that we stand with the truth. We haven't interfered in this case. It's important to understand that in a correct scenario, the only endeavor, if at all, of the government was to clean up the system. It has never been to be on a vendetta campaign or to target anyone. And I'm glad that Aryan and the 5 others have been given a clean sheet. It shows you that truth does come out in the open. And this independent probe, which has been conducted, set up by the government, has not had any kind of political interference. It is unfortunate. It is absolutely unfortunate that he had to spend so much time in jail. It shows you the lacunas in the system. There are questions when it comes to judicial bureaucracy as well. There are questions which comes to it being a media trial, which is unfortunate. And at this juncture, all I would like to say is that truth has come out. And I'm glad that all these 6 people have been given a clean chit. The investigations that we talk about have been done independent of any political insulation or political interference. So every time Clyde tries to make this a BJP versus NCB or NCP, it isn't. It was never a political case to start with. It was an independent agency.
Mr. Castro, I'll come back to you. Mr. Castro, let her finish. Yes, Ms. NC, make your point.
It was never a political case to start with. It's unfortunate that it got so much media attention and there were multiple theories floating around. We have always said that, you know, let an independent agency investigate and truth come out in the public domain. And this is the truth, and I'm glad that they have been.
But Ms. NC, as I bring in Mr. Castro again, and I'll go across to Sahil as well, I'll ask you that question.
Into a political one-upmanship.
There was no... Right. But Ms. NC, there was no attempt to insulate or to interfere, but there was enough political commentary which came in from the BJP side where Maharashtra unit is concerned. Many prominent leaders, ma'am, on my very show right here came out and supported what the NCB was saying and slamming Aryan Khan for being a drug addict.
No.
I'm coming to you, sir. Let her answer, I'll come to you.
Nobody nobody has ever suggested or believes that he was a drug addict. Please, let's understand the truth is out in the public domain. Let's not get into character assassination because it's not required.
That was done by many of your own leaders, but fine. Okay, Mr. Castro wants to make a point.
Our own children. The larger point being that the
in hindsight, these words sound great, but Mr. Castro wants to make a point. Mr. Castro,
and the lacunas in the system, which
all
is
right, Ms. NC, may I, with your permission, let Mr. Castro make a comment, and I'll come back to it. Yes, Mr. Castro, go ahead.
Preeti, just to humbly tell you that my surname is Castro. So
I apologize, sir. I apologize. Castro,
okay,
yes.
That's fine. Now, in my opening statement, when we were talking, when I spoke to you, I never mentioned anything about BJP. Now that Shaina says that I've made it about BJP and NCP, let me get to the real part. The real part is on your channel, on your debate. We can go back and look at all the debates that I've done with you and all other channels. Every single BJP spokesperson was going to town and deriding Aryan Khan. They were trying to make Samir Wankhede some sort of a superhero. They cannot deny. I mean, you can lie, but everything is on record. You can go back on record now how every single BJP spokesperson was putting down Mr. Nawab Malik for what he was saying and trying to paint Samir Wankhede as a superhero. I am not saying this now just because I have to say it. You can go back and check it. If you want to say that I said this is about BJP and NCP, I did not say in my opening statement, but now I say that it is not about BJP and NCP. It is BJP who's trying to paint a wrong picture about everything.
Absolutely.
The NCB has been a good body from the time of its inception, has done some wonderful work. And now it has gone ahead and again done some wonderful thing by bringing out this whole truth in the open. NCB has done a fantastic job. Kudos to them. But if it was the truth that was being hidden, it was hidden by the BJP and their spokespersons and all the leaders who were trying to make this about politics. Today, if you go back, it was about politics. BJP trying to, paint a wrong picture about Mumbai and Maharashtra. That's what it was doing, and it was all about elections. But the fact is, NCB has done a fantastic job by bringing out the truth, and I will go one step ahead and actually say thank you to the government and welcome the government's decision to set up an inquiry against this investigating officer, because the truth has to come out. It's about time that you clean the system up, and it's not, again I repeat, it's not just about Aryan Khan. It's about many innocent people who have been framed by these people.
Mr. Castro, I'd like to go back to Ms. NC because Ms. NC's patiently heard you out. I want to go back. You know, Ms. NC, the fact is it's a little unfair to say that nobody said anything. I'll quote Mr. Devendra Fadnavis. NCB has clearly stated that they caught people and took them away. Those who were clean, they let off. Those who found something near them were arrested. One of those who was arrested was a person associated, the son of a very prominent... Ma'am, fine. Okay, I will not quote. I will not quote because I understand it's embarrassing.
No, listen, please hear me out. As I said, on every debate that I have come, I have personally even said to the extent it could have been any of our children. So we have to be really careful of situations such as this. Now, if for 1 minute the investigative officer had an agenda, then what did the government do? We did not interfere in this case. We said have an independent probe. And the independent probe has said that Aryan and all others are innocent and there has been no drug abuse here. So I think the truth has prevailed. If we wanted to make this into a political story, as is being suggested by my dear friend Clyde, then the evidence could have been whatever it is and the result would have been different. So my limited point being, truth has come out. It is unfortunate. It is most unfortunate that these children had to spend 26 days in jail. It shows you the lacunas in our system, talks of judicial bureaucracy, talks of media trials, and the larger issue is that the only agenda, if at all, of the NCB should be to eradicate the supply chain, because that is the most important.
I'm going to, Mr. Castro,
and that is the only
Mr. Castro, I'll give you 30 seconds, sir. I want to go to Sahil in the end. 30 seconds, sir. Please reply. You wanted to come in for a rebuttal.
I want to make a quick point, and the point here is the BJP from day one wanted to make this a political issue. They made a big mistake. Because of their influence, because of the way they were talking, there were these few youngsters, a few people who went through mental trauma. Who is going to be held responsible for this mental trauma that these people went through? And because of what they've done, there are many others who are languishing in jail. All these people need to do it. I mean, good enough that the government is doing what they're doing. But
right. May I bring in?
If the BJP spokesman is going to say that they're not going to say
No, sir. Okay, sir. To give Miss NC the benefit of doubt, every time Miss NC has come, at least on my debate, and I remember that because you know, we were one of the very few channels that took a very moderate line on the story and did not conduct a public trial of Aryan Khan or a media trial at that. But Miss NC has always maintained a neutral line on it. Though you are correct, there have been other leaders from the BJP who've come out and openly accused Aryan Khan of consuming drugs, not just that, of actually being involved in an international racket which was put forth by the NCB in court. I'm going to go into a quick break, sir, but I want to bring in Sahil back. Sahil, you know, 30 seconds, and we'll have you on the other side of the break as well. But 30 seconds, Sahil, encapsulate for our viewers how this is a textbook case on why politics should never mingle with ongoing cases, because it's egg on face of so many today.
Well, according to me, this is the textbook case, and you know, this case has underlined that why politics should not be played only on the basis of investigation, and before the investigation gets completed and the charge sheet is filed, and then the case is tried in the trial court, because this is not for the first time, especially with respect to Narcotics Control Bureau. Look at the cases, what has been happening since last 1 year, and when it comes to the bail in the High Court, most of the serious charges have been dropped. So this is very serious, and you know, on the other side of the break we can discuss other stuff as well. But of course, this is an underlying case that why the politics should not be played only on the basis of what the investigating officers are. And it's not just happened. I'm going to go into a quick break, Sahil, because it's not just happened in the case of Aryan Khan. It happened in the case of Sushant Singh Rajput's suicide. It happened in the case when every star was interrogated on the charges of drug, be it Deepika Padukone and other legion of actresses.